hi, my name's Michael. I'm joined here by Seema, our class president.
Hi.
We're going to go through her dental journey because she had a unique one as well. But if you can, just start out with introducing yourself, where you grew up, and where you went to school.
Yeah. Hi, guys. I'm Seema. I am a D2 at Western UCDM with Michael. I am from Fresno, California, and I went to Fresno State, Go Bulldogs. And then for post-bac, I went to SF State, so San Francisco State University, and now I'm here, and I'm so happy.
Yeah. And you've been, we just finished our...
Within the last hour, we just finished one of the hardest semesters ever.
So on that note, thank you so much for, you staying behind in school.
Of course.
Actually, we drove back to school just to record this video, so
no, it's totally,
thank you so much.
Totally fine.
Yeah. I wanted to go over your dental journey because you, like many of us here, had a really unique journey too. Mm-hmm. Real quick, how many times did you apply?
So I applied twice. I got in on my second one, and the second one was quite the rush because I learned a lot from the first one. And then I got in December 1st at 8 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
It was a rush.
The dream.
Yeah.
So let's go through that a little bit. So you applied once, and that was straight out of college? Or?
So I graduated from Fresno State in 2015, and I applied right away, or started thinking about applying right away. Mm-hmm. Started studying for the DAT, which was it was a time that I can't even think about. It's stressful for everyone, I think. But that's why I think these things are good because it kind of motivates you to keep pushing. But I applied right out of undergrad, but I waited a long time to apply. I didn't really have a lot of mentors that were geared toward pre-dental students. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't really know about the rolling admission.
Oh,
I didn't know that you could get seen sooner than other people just based on when you apply. Yeah. And that plays a huge role because you could get seen in May. Mm-hmm. Now I think it opens in May or June when it opened for me. Mm-hmm. You can get seen in June or you can get seen way late in the fall like I was. Yeah. And that's a little bit more stressful because at that point the pool is just so large.
Right. And on that note, if you're applying later, then that means you're competing for a smaller amount of seats because
for sure
all of them have already gotten
for sure. And I think also rolling admissions also means the interviews are rolling.
Right.
So when you've applied at a certain time, you get seen sooner to get an interview. You get an interview sooner or later, and you get an acceptance sooner or later. Yeah. So that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. And I definitely struggled with that in undergrad too.
Yeah.
I didn't have a mentor. And
I wish there were more mentors geared toward pre-dental students as opposed to just pre-health because there are a lot of similarities among the health professions and their applications, but there are also some things that are different.
Yeah, definitely. And you still made it through though. Can you go through what changed from your first application to your second application? Yeah.
So I went to undergrad. I have a bachelor's in child and family development, and that's something I'm really passionate about. Thought I wanted to do pediatrics for a while, but after doing child and family development, I kind of just realized a child really comes with a family unit, and that's a unit that I want to be a part of as far as dentistry goes. So dentistry was always kind of on my radar, but I still pursued that degree and I loved it, and I did my sciences, but I did kind of the bare minimum of what you would need to apply to dental school. So just the basic prereqs. And when I applied, not only was it late, but I also kind of felt like I wasn't ready as far as the sciences go. I didn't have the background as much as I wanted to. I didn't take a lot of the recommended courses, which the recommended courses are great because now I've seen some of that material when I'm here in dental school, Right. And so I did a post-bac because I wanted my second application to be much more impressive. I wanted a lot of guidance because my post-bac was amazing in giving guidance in that way. We had specific classes made for people who were applying, and that was extremely helpful because it was all the guidance that I didn't get before and a lot of things I didn't know before. And also it helped me bring up that science GPA. The science GPA wasn't terrible coming out of undergrad, but it wasn't super competitive. And because I kind of went in with the bare minimum of science courses, I had a smaller pool of science courses, and when I came out of post-bac, it really gave me that science boost.
And a lot of times that's what will keep you behind, right? If you can have the greatest DAT score, and you could have a low GPA, and sometimes the low GPA will hold you back. Not all the time, right?
Yeah, it really depends. There are so many factors that go into it, and that's why I say apply early. Because everyone, there are people out there that have amazing stats in every category, like all the volunteer hours, the amazing GPA, the amazing DAT. But for most of us, like some things are great and some things aren't, and I think that's okay. But the sooner you apply, the better your chances are.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Man, so that must have. It sounds like you took a gap between your first time applying and your second time applying.
Yep.
And that must have just. It takes a lot of maturity and a lot of deep thought in order to be able to do that, because you always want to get in and you just want to get in as fast as possible.
Yeah.
What was that like, and how did you come to that decision?
For sure. So I think my years off were the reason for my growth and my maturity, because during that time, no one wants to take a year off. When people tell you like take a year off, you're kind of like, no, I want to go to dental school now.
Let alone do a post-bac.
Yeah,
extra schooling. Yeah,
exactly. Not more schooling, but my years off. So I had 2 years off, one before post-bac and one after. And in both of those times, I did a lot of, I worked, I did a lot of shadowing, I did a lot of volunteer hours. Obviously, I did the post-bac. I did research, which was like amazing. And then I also did a lot of, I took classes. This sounds very nerdy, and I know a lot of people are like, why did you do that? Like some of my friends were like, why are you doing this? But I actually went back after I found out that my application was in and I was good and I was kind of waiting around for like answers. I took 2 courses that I wanted to take in undergrad that I didn't get the chance to take for fun.
Okay. Well, and it must have been fun.
It was fun. Yeah. I took a business course because I was really interested in it. I never got to do it because at my school it was so high demand that it would just fill up. Yeah. And I took a sculpting class. Awesome. I learned some sculpting. Yeah.
You know, so interesting that you say that, because in the last video we talked about, you know, feeding your mind and just being mentally well while you're going through this application process, because it could be grueling, right? And especially if you're doing something fun like a pottery class. Yeah. It's like, you know, that's just adding value to your life. For sure. And you learn another new skill.
For sure. And side note, it was something for me to update dental schools about. Oh, yeah? Which, like, I think is huge. One of my biggest pieces of advice when you're waiting is find little things to update them on. Yeah,
definitely.
Just keep your file out, you know?
And that way that you're not calling them just asking, like, you know, what's the status of my application? It's more so, hey, I got this new thing. Yeah. Also, what's the status of my application?
Now that you have my file in your hand.
Yeah. So that's really good. For sure. Man. So going through that, so you applied during your post-bac, and you got a pretty early interview. Do you think it was because you applied early, or?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I applied like the second week that it was open, but I think also that goes to show that you can be really fast, but you also have to make sure that you're kind of on top of the people that are writing your letters, because that was the one thing I was waiting on then. I was like, I went to a really great post-bac, and I really recommend it. And they write a beautiful committee letter for you. But the committee letter is so long and so beautiful that it takes some time. Yeah. So it's really important to make sure that you get everything that they need for that committee letter in, answer all of their questions, and kind of just keep reminding them, you know.
Yeah. I mean, and at that point, it's not even on you. It's on someone else. And you know, whoever's writing the community letter or your letter of recommendation might have other obligations. So it's really important to just get on top of that. Yeah. So many things to be on top of during the application cycle.
So many things,
Yeah. You know, so we do have another interview coming up here at Western, as well as other dental schools. For students that are going through the application process right now or through the interview process, do you have any advice for them?
Yeah. So if you're in the process right now, I would definitely say make sure that you are updating the schools as much as you can. Make sure that you're not sitting idle. Make sure you're doing a lot of enriching things, such as volunteering, such as working, such as taking classes that maybe you didn't get a chance to take before, and keep updating the schools. I actually took an online medical Spanish class as well. Oh wow! Just because I was like, I need things that I can like enrich myself with, that's going to get me ready for dental school. So anything you can do that you can update your application with, anything you think that will get you ready for dental school, anything that you've wanted to do that you just haven't had time to do. Right. I would just stay active. Stay active. And it also helps you keep your mind off things. Yeah.
I mean, I definitely, in my first application cycle, I was always checking my phone. Yeah. I was always checking my phone for that email. Yeah. And if the school even emailed me, oh, your application is complete, I'd go through this breakdown. Yeah. You know, so it's really important to keep yourself sane. Keep your mind, keep yourself sane. Yeah. Keep your mind active. For sure. Yeah. So, also, on that note, during your kind of waiting period, did you also do some shadowing, did you say?
Yeah, so I worked at a dental office. Luckily, she was great in that she let me shadow while I was working front office. But I also shadowed. I shadowed her as well a lot. She was amazing. She's been a great mentor to me. And so I was able to ask a lot of questions. I was able to become friends with the assistants and the hygienists and ask them a lot of questions as well, because they know a lot of things that, you know, they do a lot of behind the scenes work that like us dentists, you know, I mean, just like restocking things and like, oh, I'm gonna need this for this procedure, this is the armamentarium, or like whatever it is that they know is also really important for you. And so I tried to learn from the assistants, the hygienists, the dentist, and I tried to just stay engaged with all aspects of the office. So that was really helpful.
Especially our assistants here, even in our clinic, they know everything, and they're always 10 steps ahead of you, like not even exaggerating.
I know,
10 steps
they
ahead
really
of you.
are. They're you're gonna need this later.
I'm
like, oh wow, I didn't even think about that.
Very, very important to like just really recognize what they do.
For sure.
I know I said I wanted to keep this short, but I also wanted to go into people are gonna ask like your stats. You don't have to really say your the stats that you got in with, because you know it's a number of things that get you in, and it's not always your stats.
I agree.
But can you say what your stats might have been your first application?
So I applied both times with a very average DAT. I'll say that. Okay. And the reason I'm not going to say the number is because I feel like people get really fixated on that number.
I don't
it does not define you. That DAT number does not define you. Like there are so many other things in your application. But one thing I will say, and I'm going to say this just because I want to emphasize post-bacs or master's programs to people, is when I graduated undergrad, I had a 3.8, and it's because that's my overall, but that was, I mean, I was a child and science, you know, child and family science major. So like I had, you know, a little bit of a buffer because I was so passionate about those classes, and you know, like those classes at the end of the day, like I took with science courses, and so they balanced me out a little bit. Not to say I did badly in my science courses, I didn't, but because there was such a small pool of science courses, it wasn't like, I mean, when you have like 10 science courses and you have like 20 of other, you know, this kind of like takes precedence over your GPA. But my science, I think the first time was like a 3.3 or something. So not great, right? And I applied late, and just all these things. So many things went into that first application, not getting it. But I will say this. When I did my post-bac, I went in and I was taking courses I'd never taken before. A lot of people in the post-bac were retaking courses they hadn't necessarily done well in undergrad. I was fortunate in that I wasn't in that situation. I was now just taking courses I hadn't taken before. Right. And so just kind of enriching my background and kind of just like learning how to study for sciences. And then when I applied to dental school the second time, I had a 3.75 science.
You had a 3.75 science?
Yeah. So the post-bac really boosted me a lot. Not only in numbers, but just learning how to handle that load and the material.
It sounds like it got you ready for dental school.
No, 100%. I advocate for it so much.
Yeah. And that's not only in academics so much. It's also, it got you ready maturity-wise, too.
100%. Yeah. 100%. During post-bac, that was the first time that I moved away from home. And, learning to live with people other than my family, learning to, you know, make my meals, do my laundry, get gas in my car. I mean, just little things that my parents had always taken care of. And I was very fortunate to have really supportive parents who took care of all those things, and now I was taking care, and not that they don't still take care of a lot of things they do, but in post-bac I learned how to handle all of that and a large workload. Yeah.
Well, the battery turned off, so we're using your phone. Yeah. And we're going to finish
We're back.
Yeah, we're back.
Back in session.
You know, I went over all the questions I got from pre-dental students, and I was wondering if you had anything else that you would like to add.
Just keep pushing. I know what a deep hole us pre-dental students can put ourselves into, and you're kind of doing it to yourself. I know that there are a lot of factors that go into it, but we kind of end up doing it to ourselves because we just want it so badly. I think dental students are like the most OCD people I've ever met.
Oh my gosh!
Because we have so many things to be on top of, and we want to do everything perfectly. Don't stretch yourself too thin. Just make sure that you're trying your absolute best, and like really surround yourself with people that are going to push you in the right direction. You know, people that are going to say like it's okay, or you need to take a break, or just remind you to not burn out. Please don't burn out. I've done it to myself way too many times, even now in dental school.
Yeah,
and I've kind of just learned now, I know when we're trying to get into dental school, it's all about the A's. I need the A, and like it makes sense to some extent because you do need A's to get into dental school sometimes, you know, like it just depends on your situation. But I would definitely say once you're here, that mindset shifts, because now you're not learning to get A's, you're learning how to deal with a patient in your chair. And it's more important for you to know what to do in a certain situation, like an emergency or something, as opposed to getting an A in like some science course, you know. So just keep pushing, it gets better, I promise. And reach out to like as many people as you can with any questions, like any of us, dental students, faculty, whoever it may be, because they will always have a lot of valuable things to tell you, and they can help pull you out of any dark hole that you're in.
Especially students here at Western U. We're all very, you know, you were mentioning like you need A's in undergrad, but once you get to this level, your whole just mentality shifts towards this patient. But it also, you have such a supportive family behind you, 100%. Especially in dental school. If you find the right group of friends, we're lucky that our whole class is just very supportive, and
we're
always,
very lucky.
We're always sharing study guides that we make for ourselves. I mean, big shout out to them, but it makes them so much more worthwhile to get through all of this if you have that supportive community behind you.
For sure. For sure. And I would say also, as you start building that community, visit as many schools and do as much research on each school as you can, because that's another thing, a big change from my first application to my second one. I know a lot of people the second time they're like, I need to apply to like 20 more to like, you know, increase my chances. But for me, I remember the first application, I was just like anywhere in the country, I was like click let me in. And then like the second time around, I remember my mom and I sat down with 2 Excel sheets and we did research on every single one, and I crossed off the ones I didn't want. And we had like, she was doing it by stats and I was doing it by locations that I wanted to go to, because like I think that's another thing, like my support system, my family really sat me down and they were like, do you picture yourself being in this place for 4 years? Like you may be becoming a dentist, but are you going to be happy? Are you going to be a happy dentist, you know? So that's really important too, is to make sure that you're going to a place that you're going to be happy in. And so really pick that list wisely. And my list actually the second time, even though I really wanted to get in, the second time my list actually got smaller.
Same.
So
my from my first application to my third application, I think it dropped down like 15 schools. And it's important. And I applied to 30 schools in the first time. Which is such a waste of money.
I think I applied to 20 something, and then when I applied the second time, it was like 13. Something like that.
Saves a lot of money.
It does save a lot of money.
And I actually, it like some people might think, oh, I don't need to do an Excel sheet. I'll just apply to whichever one, like, and then they'll give me an interview. And then hopefully I'll get in. I think it's so worthwhile doing that interview. Doing that Excel sheet. The list. Because it'll tell you which schools don't accept out-of-state students. Which schools are more inclined to accept students that are research oriented. Which schools have like a pipeline program, kind of like what we have here. We have a master's program, and students who do that master's program do have a little bit of a higher chance getting in because they've already developed that relationship with their faculty here. And that goes hand in hand with visit the schools, which is what you mentioned.
100%. I think coming to Western U, I think I came here for a preview day, and I was like, I really want to go to that school. And luckily I was able to. But I think that really influenced my decision on which schools I was going to apply to. And another thing that I did, because I was so excited, just as a side note, so excited about getting into Western U, I had, I think, 3 or 4 post-December interviews that were out of state.
Oh, wow.
And I actually canceled them all.
Wow.
Yeah, so as soon as I got into Western U, I called all of them and canceled them. First of all, because I didn't really want to, I knew I wanted to go to Western U so badly that I didn't want to pay for the flights. And I also was like, you know, there are so many people waiting. Be considerate, you guys. Like, there are so many people that are waiting that if you can open up a spot and you know you're not going to take it, open it up. You know, there's some, and like, be nice to each other when you're applying. I know people go to preview days or pre-dental days, and they're like, I'm not going to share this information. I mean, like, don't do that. We're all, like, you're going to come to dental school, and luckily we're at a school where we all just want to help each other. But be that way when you're a pre-dent too, because you guys are all going to be colleagues one day. So you have to learn to work together.
Definitely the way you hold yourself right now. it'll project yourself
For sure.
into your doctorate career and into the future.
For sure.
Who you are just as a person.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
For sure.
Wanting to end on a positive note, you said good luck, everybody. It could be it is a hard application process.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say it one more time, really, we'll get through this together, or you guys will get through it together.
And you will. And you'll end up where you need to go. Yeah. That's like the biggest thing. Like wherever you're meant to go, whatever school it is. I can't imagine any other classmates. Can you?
No, I really can't.
No, I'm like so grateful that I'm in this class with these people.
Right, and it's so crazy that some classmates ended up in our class.
Yeah.
Because some people, I know two in particular, they were supposed to be a part of the class above us.
Yes.
And then they deferred for a year, and
they
both
ended
of them,
up in ours.
yeah, and both of them have said, "I'm so glad I'm in this class."
I mean, I'm so glad too. If I would have gotten in the first time, I mean, who knows who my classmates would have been? I'm sure they would have been great, but I love these guys. I want to be with them.
That's good. So all in good time.
Yeah,
all in good time.
Absolutely.
It happens.
Absolutely.
As long as you are very diligent, you keep your passion alive, and then you keep yourself mentally well.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
All in good time.
Mentally well. That's huge.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, again, thank you so much for doing this video. I know I've been bugging you for a whole week.
I'm so glad I got to do this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys as always for watching. Seema's going to be around. You've been in a lot of my videos kind of in the background.
Yeah, kind of just here and there.
Yeah. So if you have any questions for her.
Yes, please reach out. Please reach out.
Well, thank you again. We're going to do this clap thing. 1, 2, 3.